Welcome to Behind the Muscle Podcast. Today's guest is an NPC bodybuilder. Today's guest is Ben Smith. Ben, welcome to the podcast, man.
Hey, man, thank you for having me.
Yeah, for sure. So I know that you are a very loyal follower of Behind the Muscle Podcast. I know you've listened to a lot of the episodes and repost and share on social media. So I just want to say thank you for that support, Ben. It means a lot. But you're also on the rise in terms of an NPC bodybuilder. So I'm excited to kind of get into your bodybuilding story. Before we get there, I would like to know, Ben, who are a few of your favorite bodybuilders of all time?
Man, just a few. That's a tough one. I want to say definitely three-year mass monsters, definitely Dorian Yates, Ronnie Coleman, Jay Cutler. Those three pretty much changed the game for, size of bodybuilding. And of course, Jay Cutler, great ambassador for the sport. I always followed him for a long time. He was one of the first bodybuilders that, came across, and of course, Ronnie Coleman, who doesn't like him, and I kind of relate. We'll get into it in a little bit, but Ronnie Coleman also was a police officer himself, and so I just think that's kind of cool how he held, that full-time job and won Mr. 3 Olympias with that full-time job also. I'm also a big fan of Frank McGrath. I was a big fan of him. Seth Perosi, big fan of his. Let's see. Flex Lewis. I've always been Flex Lewis fan, a big Flex Lewis fan. I've met him in person a few times. And I guess, and if you want to say like current bodybuilders, James Hollingshead, Derek Lunsford, Sean Clarita, Nick Walker. Yeah, I mean, there's just so many that like I keep up with, like YouTube, and especially when you're in prep and stuff, you watch workout videos and day in the life of them. And I mean, there's just, right now that's just what I can think of on top of my head. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's more if I think about it. But yeah, those right there, I mean, those guys are pretty much, watch a lot of their videos and always keep up with them and what they're up to.
Yeah, I'd say that's a pretty thorough list of past and present for sure. Out of some of the guys that, because I'm like you, just a really huge fan of bodybuilding and watch a lot of the YouTube videos, and I'll sit there for hours and watch bodybuilders just eating food, which I still don't know what it is about that so many people enjoy that. But in terms of like guys currently that are putting out some decent content that you really enjoy on YouTube, who are some of those guys? I'm sure probably James Hollingshead is one of them. He puts out some great content. Are there some other guys, Nick Walker, that are kind of your go-tos in terms of YouTube viewing?
Oh yeah, I watch a lot of like Sean Clarita. I watch a lot of his stuff. Nick Walker, I watch a lot of his things. I don't know if you know Jamie Christian. He's called The Giant. Yeah, for some reason, I've been on a kick of his, man. He just seems like such a cool dude. I mean, I watch a lot of his videos. He's really down to earth and very nice to all of his, fans. And I mean, he's just you're very drawn to him. And plus, he's a huge guy. He's like 6'5", and it's just hard for him. It's going to be hard for him to, win, I think, a show just because of his height. I mean, like the last video I watched, I think the judges said in off season he would have to get up to like 400 pounds and then cut from there to even be compared to the smaller, the shorter guys. So yeah, like Nick Walker, Sean Clarita, that Jamie Christian, James Hollingshead, Regan Grimes. I always been a fan of Regan Grimes, like his physique. He has a very good physique. Let's see. Right now, that's my pretty much go-to, guys right now.
Cool. Awesome. Tell us, Ben, at what age did you start lifting weights? And then why did you start lifting weights at that specific age?
Man, I started lifting weights. I honestly, so I'll say about fifth and sixth grade. I actually started out with just start like push-ups, push-ups and sit-ups. And a lot of people don't know this. I would go home at night and I'll watch TV, and during commercials, I would do push-ups and sit-ups. And I would do that constantly. And I'm not even exaggerating. I'd do about 500 sit-ups and close to 1,000 push-ups, like from like fifth to sixth grade. You know, I would just do that throughout the week. And my mom would always come in there and, see me in the living room doing this all the time. And then eventually, I say about seventh grade, they bought me like a miniature, workout set, and it come with a lot of weights. It's one of those where it had like a bench, and then it was a bar, then attached to it was like a leg extension, just something, small. And, I got that for Christmas, like in sixth grade. And I started, lifting with that. And then got into junior high, seventh and eighth grade, and started playing, sports. And of course, like basketball, and did basketball workouts. And got into high school and started played basketball in high school, ran track. I did football my senior year. And of course, doing that, you just do the, sport workouts that they have you do. Really, technically wasn't, at the time wasn't really bodybuilding, workouts, but just the workouts that had to do with that sport, And so I basically, got into it, actually trying to build my physique, about fifth grade. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, how were you exposed to doing push-ups and sit-ups? Was that like through a PE class or something? Or did you see somebody on a movie doing it? Like, did you see your parents doing it? How did you kind of know to do push-ups and sit-ups from that young of an age?
It was definitely, when you're in elementary school, they teach you basic, exercises, and definitely sit-ups and push-ups was one of your basic ones. And so growing up, big fan of, I was a big fan of, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Was it Jean-Claude Van Damme? I always watched him. There's another guy that's a very popular. I can't think of his name. He's another action guy.
Sylvester Stallone from Rocky.
That's it. That's who. Yeah, there you go. That's it. Yeah. Of course, those three, man. They were like iconic. They were like the fit people, the action people. Always ripped up. And you watch any of their movies, and everybody's like, "Dang, I want to look like him." So definitely watched a lot of their movies and kind of looked up to those guys. And and of course, growing up, I was really into GI Joe. And of course, GI Joe action figures. They're all ripped up and buff, and I was just like, that kind of inspired me to kind of go down that road, because I saw that fit physique, and I was like, that's kind of like that's what I want. So that's what I wanted to achieve. So that's how I started in with the push-ups and sit-ups, just to get started.
Excellent, man. So you mentioned sports when you're younger. Just let us know, Ben, a little bit more about like where you grew up. Talk about family dynamics. Maybe just touch on some of the highlights of your childhood for us up to about high school, and then we'll transition from there.
All right. So I grew up in a small little town. It's called Watertown. Of course, here in Tennessee, very small, like little country town. It's like everybody knew everyone. And of course, I started out playing like, Little League baseball. Started out Little League baseball, then played like youth basketball. That's kind of like in elementary school. I say about, third, fourth, fifth grade, sixth. Then got into junior high, played basketball in junior high. And basketball was more my sport, believe it or not, even though I'm short, I'm 5'6". But I was very fast. When I was in high school, I was known, I always had an athletic build. And I guess you could say, for being in high school, everybody, for being in high school, I was built. Everybody thought I was big in high school, and I weighed probably about 165, 170 pounds, and always had a good athletic build, but I was very fast, and people know me for being the fast kid. And I always had, like I said, basketball was my love, man. I love basketball as a point guard. Like one of my specialties was when people would try to full court press me. I was like my coach was like, give Ben the ball, everybody else get out of the way. And that's what it was. They throw the ball into me, and I would just like zigzag down the court, and they could never trap me. And that's just what I was good at. I was really quick and really fast. And the baseball coaches, they would always try to recruit me to come out and play baseball. Football coaches, they were always after me. But like I said, basketball was just my thing. I loved it. And in my head, I was just like, I didn't want to get hurt like in playing other sports, and then to put me out for basketball, And even there's one time, I think it was my senior year, I was actually able to dunk at one point. I could dunk a basketball, and I couldn't go up by myself. So if somebody would have like tossed it up to me, I could jump up and, slam it down. And I got to that point, and I decided my senior year, I decided to play football. So after basketball was done, I went and played football my senior year, and it was probably one of the most fun I've ever had. And that's one thing I kind of regret. I wish I'd have played all 4 years. I did punt return, kickoff return. I played receiver. Basically, I played they kept me on offense. I didn't play much defense. They just kept me on offense. And so played football my senior year. Then also I ran track. I wish I would have ran track all 4 years too. Track, honestly, if I had to go, I think I would have picked track over basketball and football. If a lot of people, I don't know why a lot of people don't think that track is like a geeky sport. Man, it's not. It's like one thing. I mean, you get out of school early because you go to a track meet, and you go to this track meet, and there's like 15 schools there. For you're doing like track events all day, and it's like I did is it the 4x1, the 4x2? I did the 100-meter, the 200-meter. I did long jump too. So I also did long jump, and I went to sub-state in long jump, and got put out in sub-state. And then our boys 4x1 relay, we actually went to state, and we competed at MTSU in Murfreesboro. And we got our butts handed to us pretty good. we thought we were good, but then you get to these other big, like huge schools, and you have these boys that are tall and have like long strides and fast. Man, I'm telling you, these boys can move. But track was very, very fun. And so I did that through high school, and I got into like more. My senior year at our football banquet. I was the first one to ever get this award, and I was very humble about it. And still, it's still special to me to this day, because I think I was the first one they ever awarded this to. It was most dedicated in the weight room. And it was like a little plaque, and we're sitting at the banquet, and when the football coach was starting to talk about, like say this guy, he's always dedicated in the weight room, and everybody turned around, everybody knew who it was, So I got a pretty good laugh at that. But then he said most dedicated in the weight room, and I believe he gave me that because I would work out. I think it was like third period. I had maybe like PE or something in my senior year. I would go and work out during that class period. Then I would kind of do like bodybuilding workouts, but then after school, we would also have football workouts, and I would do my football workouts too. But see, my football coach was also my PE teacher. So he would always see that I was pulling 2-a-days. Nobody else was doing that. I would always be in the gym doing 2-a-days. And I believe that's kind of how he saw that I was, dedicated to the weight room. And I was the first one to ever get that award. I don't know if they give it out, today, but I just thought that was pretty cool. So
For sure. Now, talk about just your excuse me, your family a little bit. I mean, did they have a pretty big influence on your upbringing, your parents? If so, kind of what are some of those values maybe that they instilled in you, Ben?
Oh yeah, come from a very big family, man. I have an older brother. He's half brother. I have an older half brother. I have two older sisters. Then I have a younger brother. He's 3 years younger than me. And of course, my younger brother, since he's only 3 years apart, he was a freshman when I was a senior. And what's really cool is we got to play on the same teams, you know, so we got to play on the same basketball team together, same football team, you know, so we got to actually, you know, be on the same team and, you know, play on the field at the same time, play on the court at the same time. And uh, of course, me and him being closer in age, we were so competitive with each other, like in sports and stuff. And I mean, we'll be outside, you know, in the be outside in the yard where our basketball goal is, and we'll be out there. I mean, for like all night, just going back and forth, back and forth. And it's like he would win, I would rematch, you know, and it would just go back and forth. And it's like finally we're just like, okay, you know, it got too dark to even see the goal, so it's like we have to go in. And so me and my brother were like, I mean, still very close, but being so closer in age, you know, siblings, if you're closer in age, you kind of tend to be closer to that one. And parents were we grew up Catholic. My mom was Catholic. My mom is from Connecticut. My dad is from down here in Tennessee. So my mom, she grew up in, you know, Catholic church, and all of us kids, we you know, were devoted to the Catholic church. And very good upbringing. My mom was, you know, very strict on us being in Sunday school, you know, getting us to church on Sundays. My dad, he was a very, you know, church person. He would always, he would still go, he would attend, like, you know, like when we make like first communion, confirmation, stuff like that, like any big event at church, he would always be there, you know, so he never missed any of that stuff. I'm very, definitely very big into, you know, my faith. Now, I mean, I do have downfalls. I do not, you know, go to church as I should, you know. And I mean, of course, me and my wife, I mean, we have talked about that. We are going to, you know, definitely, that's something we definitely want to do, is get back into that, you know, going every Sunday. So, I mean, definitely have downfalls, you know, but it's very, you know, religion is very, very important to us. To me, it holds the family together. It's the whole, you know, the big picture in life, you know. Without God, I mean, I wouldn't be able to do what I do, you know. I mean, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be blessed with the genetics, to be able to like do bodybuild, to, I mean, do anything. So faith is very, very important. Always has been, you know. Our kids, they're, you know, they're Christian, you know, we raised them in the church. Parents were very hard workers. Like I said, they always taught us to work hard, you know, treat people right, good morals. You know, very even if somebody, you know, just one of those things, even if somebody was doing you wrong, don't do them wrong. If somebody's like treating you bad, don't go up and, like, you know, have revenge and treat them back, because it's like one of those things will come back, you know, and, you know, get you, you know, later on down the road. But I mean, we had a very good, you know, very good upbringing. So, and my parents, my mom, she was actually she was a triathlete. So she did a lot of triathlons. Yeah, she was really big into that. And of course, that, you know, the running, biking, and swimming. She she did that for years. And when she would heck, I remember when I was like sixth and seventh grade, she'll go out and run. I'm talking about like 3-4 miles, and I would go with her. You know, because I mean, at the point, I mean, I loved running too. You know, I was a runner, so I would just go with her. You know, and we'd run down the road, and I'm talking about 3 or 4 miles, and, you know, I'll just go and keep her company, you know, so she didn't run by herself, and we'll talk and, you know, things like that. So my mom was very big in triathlons. And then, you know, as she got older, you know, she got out of that. So both my parents, they are retired now. So they still live in the little town where we grew up. Of course, me and my siblings, we don't live in the town anymore. I live about 45 minutes away, from where we grew up at.
Excellent, man. So tell me, Ben, then, in terms of what you were thinking about, what you wanted to do career-wise when you were kind of in high school, and then once you graduated high school, I mean, did you go to college? What kind of transpired for you post high school in terms of pursuing a career? And then we're going to kind of start getting into bodybuilding talk.
Man, so of course, I mean, you know how high school is. You think you want to do one thing, and then you change your mind about 50 million times. You think you're into one thing, and then you get into something else. And I mean, there's one time where I wanted to be like a massage therapist. I looked into that. I looked into physical therapist. I looked at two of those. Really, I did a lot of studying on those, and actually wrote a paper on physical therapy for English. And then I kind of got out of that and actually looked into the military, and the Coast Guard really interested me. I know since I don't live near coast, you don't see a lot of Coast Guard here in Tennessee. You do want something like on our big rivers, the big rivers we have here. You have Coast Guard out there, but Coast Guard is not really you don't hear much about. And I just thought it's really, I mean, I looked a lot into it, and it just really intrigued me, and it was something I really wanted to be good at, and well, that kind of fell through my senior year. Actually, I was on the verge of going to talk to a recruiter, for the Coast Guard. And then I had a friend, his mom worked at the sheriff's office, where we live. And so he talked to me. He goes, instead of going to the military, he goes, why don't you try to, give law enforcement a try? And I saw, I thought about it, and I was like, what? I was like, that's something I think I'll be, interested in. So it was 2011. I put in an application for the sheriff's office where I live, and just a couple of days later, I got a call, and I worked in corrections. So I worked in corrections for 5 years. So it started in 2011. I did corrections for 5 years. And then in 2016, I got sent to a police academy. And police academy was 3 months. After I graduated police academy, I've been on the patrol division ever since then. So I've been with the sheriff's office for about 11 years.
Okay. Now, in terms of, having a career in law enforcement, Ben, just talk a little bit about, maybe just some of the lessons that you've learned, you've basically kind of grown up. I mean, your career has been in, corrections for 5 years, and then being a sheriff. So you've been in law enforcement, I mean, basically since you graduated from high school. So just talk about some of the lessons that you've learned, and just talk a little bit about that career, because we know nationally speaking, politically speaking, we're not going to get into politics right now, but there's been kind of some bad light trying to be shown on law enforcement in our country. Unfortunately, I think the majority of people in our country are very thankful for law enforcement, myself included, and look up to you guys and respect all of you greatly. But just talk about some of the lessons learned, and just talk about, having that career as a sheriff, because that is a unique career. I don't know if I've had a guest on here yet that's been a sheriff. So I'm just kind of interested in finding out more about that from your perspective, please.
Oh yeah, man. I love being law enforcement, and I'm blessed to be living in a place that that law enforcement, is treated, with respect. I work for a very good department, and I know how things have been the last couple of years, and it's a shame. To me, I look at it as you can't blame all law enforcement for one person's misdoing. You can't do that. Because you got to think, any profession in life, any business, any career, you're going to have bad eggs. No matter what it is, no matter what career it is, you're going to have your bad eggs. And it's the same thing with law enforcement. You're going to have some officers that maybe they shouldn't, be doing the job. You can't blame the department. You have to blame that individual because, at the end of the day, you're responsible for your own actions. No matter how you're trained, the department policy, your procedures, how you're trained, you are responsible for your actions. I mean, individually, you are responsible for your own actions. Being in law enforcement, it makes you grow up very quick. Now, I mean, I won't get into, but you can imagine being in law enforcement, I've dealt with things that, people will probably never see in a lifetime, and that's just part of the job, it's what I signed up for. Of course, I mean, I love being in law enforcement. You have to enjoy it. You have to love doing the job. Of course, I mean, law enforcement isn't the highest paid. Yeah, I mean, everybody knows it's not a secret. It's not definitely not the highest paid career. And to me, I mean, for what we do, you should. I mean, all first responders, military first responders, like nurses. To me, in my opinion, they should be some of the highest paid for like career wise. Just for what we do, because we're there for when people need us. We are the first ones that people call when you're in trouble. I mean, you need help. We're the first ones. Even these people, like, how, defund the police and all that stuff. You have these people protesting to fund the police, but then it's like when they're in trouble, who they call, and it makes you laugh because it's like, okay, it's, it's like you don't want us, but then it's like, but when something is affecting you, you do. But like I said, I mean, I'm very blessed to be, in law enforcement where I live. We're respected. People, enjoy having us around. So that's, that is a blessing. Now I can't say if I live like somewhere up north or, out west, I can't say I don't know if I'd be doing the same career, just because of how everything has transpired, the last few years. And actually, there's a lot of police officers from up north and from out west that have moved down this way, to continue their career just because of how things transpired out there and, how they're looked upon. But yeah, man, just being in law enforcement, you have to really enjoy the job. You have to, just, I mean, like I said, pay's not what it should be. So that's why you have to really enjoy it, day in, day out. And like I said, it really humbles you. It makes you see the good in people. It makes you see, I mean, what honestly kind of like what evil is out there that nobody else, sees. And so, and I know there's times where, things that I dealt with like on day-to-day basis. There's some calls that, I've had to deal with. And luckily my wife, I mean, I can't tell you how big of a blessing, she is to me. She's somebody that I can, talk to, actually like tell her like kind of how my day went. This is what happened, I kind of get it off my chest. And she's somebody that I can definitely talk to about. And she wants me to, because that's another thing with first responders, even military. You keep stuff like that, any kind of, traumatic incident, you keep that inside you. If you keep that bundled up, it's going to eat you alive, and you can't do that. You deal with something, that's traumatic, like a call that, it's going to be lingering with you for a couple of weeks, just because of the incident that happened. You have to talk about it. I mean, you can't keep that bundled up inside you. Even if you had a therapist, you just have to get that out and vent that. And that's another thing with being in this job, like the gym, that is one of my therapies. I'm very good at leaving my job, leaving my work at work. So whatever happens at work, I'll leave it there. If it's something I do need to talk to, I can discuss it with my wife. But I'm very good at leaving work at work. I do not bring it home with me. And if I did have a stressful day, I go to the gym, and I let it out in the gym. And people, I mean, people, if they know where I'm coming from, they know it's a huge, stress reliever. I mean, when you leave the gym, you're a totally different person. I mean, totally different person. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
Very cool. All right. So we're gonna spend the rest of our time, for the most part, talking about bodybuilding, Ben. So started doing push-ups and sit-ups during commercial breaks, 5th, 6th grade. Then you started kind of, doing more of sport-specific lifting in high school. So when did you really transition into bodybuilding training? And then talk about your first competition, and then we'll just kind of unpack your competition history from there, please.
So I say I got into the whole bodybuilding type style workouts probably after I graduated high school, about a year after high school. So around 2011, 2012, I actually got into like the bodybuilding type, workouts. Like I said, I already had a good frame to me from playing sports. So I actually started doing the bodybuilding type workouts. I'll like just watch YouTube videos. I talked to some of your older guys in the gym, your old school bodybuilders that from back in the day, they had a lot of knowledge. And to me, that's some of the best advice you can get. Some of the guys that have done it, for years, and give you advice. And so I started doing that probably around 2011, 2012, started, doing the bodybuilding type workouts. And I thought one day I may want to get on stage. But it wasn't one of those things like that, like, I wanted to do like automatically. I liked the thought of it because, I started, looking up like Jay Cutler, Ronnie Coleman, started looking at all these guys. And I just thought, I was like, maybe one day I'll get on stage, but I always had in my head that I was never going to rush it. If I got on stage to compete, I always wanted to make sure that I was going to be competitive. I didn't want to do it just to say, hey, I did a show. I wanted to make sure I got on stage and that I was actually going to be competitive in that like place. That was my goal. Like I was not going to rush it. And so I met my wife 2016. So between all that time, I was doing my own thing. I was working out, building my physique. Never really had a trainer. I had some guys, that would help me out, every now and then with like workouts, kind of like, guide me the right way for like with nutrition and stuff. When I met my wife, I came up here to Cookeville, Tennessee, and this is where she's from. So met her. She had a trainer at Absolute Fitness. That's the gym I go to, Absolute Fitness, and his name's Chris King. That's who was training her at the time. So I'll come up here to see her. I would go to the gym with her, and of course I would. So I would see him, and she would point him out. She's like, "So that's my trainer." And me and him, we still laugh about it to this day because it's one of those things. It's like, you kind of walk in and you kind of like just eyeball them across the gym. Like it's like, okay, so you train my girl, right? But you don't say anything. You just kind of like, it's like kind of like two alpha males, just kind of like staring at each other. But we never said anything. And then one day, just went over there and introduced myself to him, and I'll say that's towards the end of 2016. Introduced myself to him, and it's like from then on, man, it's like the rest is history. Like starting in 2017, that's when he became my coach, and me and him, he's been my coach since 2017. So he took me under his wing and put me on the right meal plan, gave me the right workout regimen, and he actually told me that he thought I competed when he first saw me. He already thought that I was into shows just by the structure that I had and the build that I had. And cause I told him, I was like, no, man. I was like, honestly, I was like, I maybe eat 4 times a day. A lot of it sometimes fast food, and I just work my butt off in the gym, and I do cardio. And he just was amazed that the way that I looked, and I didn't compete. So he just always told me, he goes, man, he goes, you're built for this. He goes, if you got on the right meal plan, the right workout regimen, he goes, you're built for this. And sure enough, 2017, I let him take the reins, and we were at it for about 2 years. So 2017, all the way to 2018, then 2019 comes along, and we decided to do my first show. And like I said, I told him, I said, man, I was like, do not put me on stage unless, you think I'm absolutely ready. I said, I do not want to rush this. I was like, if I get on stage, I want to be competitive. At least I want to win or I want to place, but I'm not just getting up there just to do a show. And he agreed. He's always honest with me, man. And he's, like I said, not just a coach. He's one of very one of my, I call him my brother. We're very close. He's like one of my best friends. And people think your coach can't be your best friend, but me and him have that relationship. Like, he's blunt with me. If he knows, he's my friend, but I mean, he's also my coach. So he's very, strict with me. He tells me what needs to be done. I mean, so there's there's that line there, you're friends, but then it's like your coach. And it's like, when it's time to take care of business, we take care of business, So he knew what I meant. He goes, we won't get on stage unless I absolutely think you're ready. He goes, I want you ready as well. I want you mentally, and I want you to be happy where we're at. So 2019 comes along. We decided to do the Flex Lewis Classic, and that was here in Murfreesboro. So I fell into, I did middleweight. I did true novice. I took first in true novice. Then I did middleweight open. Took first in middleweight open. This is the very first show. Then went to the overall because I won my class. Of course, it was I think it was a suit. There's a heavyweight that won that class. And I mean, it was fun, man, because when we're out there in the overall, even though I was a middleweight, people at the show, they actually thought I was a heavyweight just from my structure. Cause I was in the back, very first show, I didn't know, just in kind of like talking to people, and they said, so what, it's like, what class are you in? It's like, I'm a middleweight. And nobody could believe it. They were like, you gotta be kidding me. I was like, no, I seriously weigh 173. And I thought that was cool how they thought I was actually a heavyweight and I was a middleweight. And so I went to the overall. It was very fun, man. Like I said, a heavyweight won that one. So then, of course, after that, I think that's when, after 2019, 2020 comes along, then COVID hit. Everything, got shut down. Shows were all over the place. So I decided, I was like, 2020, we're going to take 2020 off. I was like, I'm not even going to try to even do a show, because even though I won my class, I got qualified for nationals. You become nationally qualified. So, but I decided to put 2020 off, just take that whole season and just grow, put on good tissue. So I honestly, during that 2020, I think I put on, honestly, about 10 to 12 pounds of muscle in that 1 year. And I moved up into light heavy that 1 year. So I moved up in weight class. 2021 comes around. I do Battle at the River in Chattanooga, and I was light heavy at that show. And of course, I know you talked to Felix. That's the first time I met Felix, was at that show. We were at the the athletes meeting. So we're at the athletes meeting, and of course, you're kind of looking around to see who's there. And I saw Felix sitting in front of me, and I was like, man, that's a big dude, And I kind of knew, I had that kind of confidence, and not being cocky, but I had a feeling, I was like, he's the only one that I'm kind of concerned about. You know, because I mean, you see all the other athletes and kind of everybody sizing each other up, you know, and but I looked at him, I was like, I think that's going to be my competition, even though I knew he was a super heavy, you know, and so we get backstage, I see him sitting over there, I go introduce myself to him, and like we basically hang out the whole show. We hang out backstage, talking, small talk about where we're from and everything, and we hit it off pretty good, man, and so I won, ended up winning my class. I won the light heavies. They also had a heroes class as well. I did the heroes class. I won the heroes class. Then we went to the overall, and that was very close between me and Felix. And Felix, we talked about it. Felix thought I won. He actually thought, I won that show. Well, I'm not saying take anything from Felix, dude. He looked great. He really did, man. And so we were up there. They called. Of course, you could hear the crowd was yelling for who they thought that who they wanted to win and stuff. And they called Felix's number, and I was happy for him, dude. I really was, man. Felix. He's such a cool dude. He really is, man. Me and him we still talk to this day. I mean, we talk several times a week, catching up. And so he won that show. Then after Battle of the River, me and him both went to USA's. And so it was about 6 weeks later, we went to USA's in Phoenix. And so we both went out there. We did that show. First national show for him, first national show for me. And of course, I was light heavy at that show, and he was super heavy. And there was, in my light heavy class, there was 27 light heavies. And I had no idea. I had no idea how many. I mean, the whole time I was there, I only think I bumped into one light heavy. All the other guys I met were heavyweights, super heavies, middleweights. I did not meet one. I'm like, dang. I was like, where's all the guys I'm against, And so we get backstage, and when they call light heavies, I start seeing everybody, undress. And I'm like, dang. I was like, there's a lot of us, man. There's like 27. And but at that point, it's like, you can't really psych yourself out. You're lining up to get on stage. It is what it is then, So we get up there, and I told my coach that since it's the first national show, because national show, you're there with the best. Everybody there has either won their class, won overalls. I mean, everybody at national show everybody looks good at national shows. Mostly everybody does. And it's going to be a tough competition. So I didn't know what to expect at nationals. And I told my coach, I said, my first goal is, I said, we need to get first call outs. That's the first priority, first call outs. It's like, because to me, I was like, we get first call outs, then we know we're in the running to, actually win. So sure enough, we all got the whole class gets up there, we go through our mandatories and everything, and they pull us out, to call the call out. And I was the very first number that they called for the first call out. And as soon as that happened, I was like, we're in there. I was like, to me, I was just so ecstatic, because my first national show, I got first call outs. And I was like, that's usually top 5. So I'm like, I was so ecstatic, man. To me, that was already a win. To me, in my book, that was already a win. So, so we get up there. I got first call outs. We end up going to the night show. And I know you talked to some of the other guys that have done USA's, man. It's such a long, God, you have to wait forever, because we get on stage at like, what was it? It was like, I don't know. I forgot when we get on stage. Was it like Friday and then get back on to Saturday or something? But it was like a long time, man. It was like almost like 72 hours, and so got back up there. We did the night show. I ended up placing 4th. I got 4th place out of the 27 competitors, and I was not mad at all, man. To me, like I said, that was a win. First national show, I couldn't be more happier. I was ecstatic. For 4th place out of 27 guys that looked phenomenal. at one of the biggest national shows, that they host. So got fourth place there. Then we took off. So that was July. Yeah, July of last year. Decided to take off and, go into the off season. Then we talked about it, and so we decided to do nationals, of this year. So we're about 9 weeks out now. And a lot of people don't know this, but actually we decided to try to pull down to middleweights again. So, we're at light heavy. I was on stage at probably about I was probably about 190 maybe on stage, so we're going to try to pull down to middleweights for this show, for nationals. We're trying to pull down to middleweights, and I got about 9 more pounds to lose, which 9 weeks, 9 pounds, so that's the goal we have right now. And I think we'll be able to pull it off. So, but yeah, dude, so my coach, man, he's I can't speak highly enough of him, man. He's so, educated, very great guy, dude. He used to, back in the day, like I said, he used to compete himself. He was coached, Matt Jensen coached him for a little bit. Then I think now he's with this guy, his name's Jeff Black. Yeah, Jeff Black kind of runs his stuff. I don't know if he'll ever, my coach, I don't know if he'll ever compete again, but he's such a great dude, man. Very knowledgeable, very smart. Most of his athletes, all of his athletes, they all do very well at shows. Hey, most of them are actually nationally qualified, and so I can't, speak highly enough of him. And of course, like I said, he used to coach my wife as well. So, he's very close with my wife, and of course, that's another thing with having support, your support system, within the sport. It's everything. And they say bodybuilding is a individual sport. A lot of it is because you're the one that has to do the eating, you're the one that has to do the cardio, you're the one that has to, do the dieting, the workouts. But the people that surround you, that show you the support, especially your home, dude, my wife, dude, I couldn't do any of this without her. I really couldn't, man. Like, I don't know, like people that have significant others, I think they know where I'm coming from, but I think some people don't give them enough praise that they should have. And I was talking about like late nights when we have the kids, she's at home with the kids, watching the kids while I'm there doing my workouts, cardio, because she knows that's what has to be done, to get ready for the show. And even she works all day, comes home, she has to, get the kids dinner, stuff like that while I'm there at the gym, just things like that, that some people miss, and they don't, acknowledge them for that. But she helps me out. She helps me out with my meals, like if I'm running behind, helps me out with that. But it's definitely, bodybuilding is it's like I said, some of it is individual, but then it's also a team effort, man. With like you said, your friends, family, your significant other, your coach, all those people are always there for you. They are helping you in some kind of way. They are. And like I said, man, my accomplishments, like I said, my wife, dude, she's my rock. I said, none of this would be possible without her. I give her honestly almost all the credit, man. And I can never speak highly enough of her. She's supportive. She knows what it takes to be successful at this. Like I said, she's very good friends with my coach. If she thinks something is going wrong, she will actually call my coach or text him herself, like, hey, this is how his body's looking. This is how he's acting. I think we need to, dude, they brainstorm even when I don't even know about it, and they'll sit there and talk. And then Chris, he'll like text me or call me and he'll start asking me these questions. But then it's kind of like, I know, I was like, you know, my wife, Angela, they've been talking and she has my back, man. She always, because I mean, you got to think, she sees me all the time. You know, she's at home with me. So it's like other things like other people don't see, she sees, you know, and like if I'm sluggish or, you know, in this sport, you have to be mentally strong. But I mean, you can be mentally strong, but your body can be telling you something else. And if you're mentally strong, you'll push that away and not listen to your body. And you know, that's happened with me the first time where, you know, I'll be like, no, you know, I'm good, you know, I'm all right. But she knows that I'm you know, something is off. And she'll, you know, call Chris and let him know, like, hey, you gotta, I mean, we need something needs to change. We need to add more food or something. Cause I mean, his body's very stressed, I can tell. And so I mean, I'm just saying, dude, that's like she's, like I said, dude, she's very big in my success for, you know, everything, man.
Yeah. So what's your goal, Ben, at Nationals this year for yourself personally? And then what's your long-term competitive bodybuilding goal for yourself?
Of course, I mean, definitely, man, I want this year to definitely want to try down there and, you know, get that card this year, man. We feel really at this point, like I said, I mean, I'm always, you know, I'm very humble, you know. I like to say I'm very humble. It's even if it doesn't go the way we want it to, man, it's still, you know, I still love the sport. You know, bodybuilding is not going anywhere. Shows are never going anywhere. To me, that's like I look at it as when it's God's time, you know, then it's his time. Because I feel like he has blessed me with these genetics. He's gave me the gift to be able to do this. You know, he's brought me this far, you know. So I think it's when it's my time, then it'll be my time, you know. And but as of right now, we feel pretty good, you know, about where we're at. Definitely, you know, I turned 31 this year, so that muscle maturity is kicking in. You know, I'm getting to that age where all the years of lifting, you know, the muscle maturity, especially when you diet down and do like shows, your body changes every time. So just this year's physique and it's completely different from every other show. You know, even see on my Instagram, you know, post update pics and stuff, and just from other shows, it's just, I think, like I say, it's just like the muscle maturity. You know, it's definitely changed my physique a ton. So where we're at right now, we feel very, very good. Of course, I mean, we'll go down there and definitely try to get that card, man. I want to win my class, even though Nationals, you know, first and second place, you know, get pro cards. And at the end of the day, I mean, you get second place, I mean, you still get your card, you know, but I mean, you want to go down there and win your class. You know, you want to win your class and go to the overall. So, of course, that is the goal, you know, is to do that. And right now we feel very, very good at where we're at, you know, very confident. So that's what we're going to try to do. And regardless of the outcome of this show, I promised, me and my wife talked, and bodybuilding is very expensive. You know, it's very time consuming. It takes away from the family. I promised her, no matter what happens, I think I want to take at least a couple years off from competing. Like I said, I'll take that time, you know, to because I told my coach, this is the last time, obviously, I will ever see middleweight. We'll get down to middleweight this show. This will be the very last time I ever see middleweight. I just had that body frame that I know I can sit at the top of light heavy or be, you know, at the bottom of heavyweight. That's just the frame that I have. So I'll take these. So if I win, you know, if I get my card, then definitely take 2 years off to grow, because I'll definitely be a 212 guy for sure. You know, I don't know if I ever see the open. We can't say never, because I mean, Derek Lunsford, you see how he just morphed, you know. So I mean, can't say never, but as of right now, I'll be a 212 guy. So you got to think, we win, take 2 years off. I'm going to grow. So actually can stand on stage with with the 212 guys. Like I said, I mean, I'm not the one to rush just go do a show. If I get up there, I want to be competitive. I want to stand out. I want to say, hey, I deserve to be here, you know, so I'll do that. If the outcome doesn't, you know, turn out how we want it to, then I'll take those 2 years to grow. I'll be a solid, you know, very top of light heavy. I'll be in the heavy, and then, you know, we'll pick a show and we'll, you know, go from there. But I talked to my wife, and I did promise her that I would take a, you know, a couple years off from competing, just so we can, you know, so we can do other things that we wanted to do, like as a family, you know, vacations. There's other like personal stuff that we needed to take care of, you know. I just got, you know, I promised her that I'll take, you know, some time off just from competing. I'll still still eat my meals, stay in the gym, you know, make progress. You know, I'll still stay on top of all that. So that's the plan right now. And you know, I mean, the day I do become pro, I guess one of my main goals is I would love to win a pro show. I'll even, heck, honestly, top 5 at a pro show. You know, top 5 to me, that would be awesome. You know, even win a pro show. Now, making it to the Olympia, I know everybody dreams about being on the Olympia stage. To me, right now, I mean, that would be cool. I mean, that'd be cool to, you know, one day get to the Olympia stage. But I'll look at it as maybe as stepping stones. You know, my first goal is become pro, get ready for a pro show, do my first pro show, at least, you know, get top 5 or win a pro show. That's my goal right now. You know, that's how I envision. Now, if I ever get that close, then I'll think about, you know, the Olympia stage, you know, but it's one step at a time. So that's just how I see how we got to take it. It's a marathon, man. It's not a sprint. So.
Sure. So I want to kind of tie in to kind of wrap up our conversation today, Ben. I want to tie in, you know, your career and then your passion in terms of, you know, this lifestyle that you've chosen to live, which is bodybuilding. And you brought it up earlier, Ronnie Coleman, in my estimation, the greatest bodybuilder, the greatest Olympian of all time, you know, during his first few years of reigning as Mr. Olympia, he was in law enforcement, which I think that's just so cool. But for you, there's got to be some challenges that some of us other athletes don't have to really deal with in terms of your career compared to our career. So talk about a little bit of how do you incorporate your bodybuilding lifestyle into being a career sheriff? Like how does that work? What are some of the challenges? Talk to us about that, and then we're going to start wrapping things up.
Oh, well, man, you got to think. So you got to, when you go on shift, usually, so we work 8-hour shifts, you know, at our department. And, you know, I pack all my food with me. You know, I have a little like cooler. I bring about 4 meals with me to work because I eat, you know, about every 2.5 hours. So bring my meals with me every day to work. You know, and when the time comes, when it's time to eat a meal, you know, I just park somewhere and try to eat a meal. And then there's sometimes where we're so busy, man. Like I'll be in the middle of eating a meal, and all of a sudden I'll get a call that I got to respond to. I got to put it up, put it back in my cooler, go take care of business. Then whenever that's done, go back and continue to eat. And there's been some times where we've been so busy, man. I'll get 2 meals behind, and I just have to play catch up. You know, you just have to, you know, just get them down, you know, and, you know, play catch up. But it's very you gotta have balance, man. You just gotta know how to, you know, bring your meals to work, get your meals in, get home, go to the gym, get your workouts done, get your cardio done. And then it's more like, you know, it's repetitive. You know, it's just like almost like a robot. You just day in and day out. And like I said, I know with the job, I mean, you gotta think it's stress, you know, comes with a lot of it. But like I said, that's where it comes back, like with my wife, man. She knows if I'm behind on stuff, you know, if I'm very behind and busy, she'll say, hey, what do you need done? You know, she'll help cook my meals. She'll help get them together, just so, because if I, you know, have a late night, from the gym, and I get home and it's like I have to get sleep too because I wake up at 4 in the morning, to get ready for work. So I wake up at 4 in the morning. My shift starts at 6. I work from 6 to 2, and so get off at 2 in the afternoon. I get home around 3. Eat, go to the gym. I'm in the gym by like 4:30. So yeah, I think that's a long day, waking up at 4 in the morning and then not going to bed, trying to go to bed at like 9:30. But then, like I said, it's where you gotta. People don't understand. You have to, with having a family and kids, you have to learn how to have balance. Balance is so important. It is so key, man. You're going to have family functions that come up. You're going to have, kids' birthdays, things that the family wants to go out and do. And you've got to think, trying to get your workouts in, all that. Stuff around the house that needs to be done. It's just, it's life, And like I said, bodybuilding right now is a hobby. It's not my full-time job. It's my hobby that I love doing. Yes, I'll definitely want to get my pro card. I want to be a pro. But whenever that time comes, it will come. If it's meant to happen, it will happen. And I just put I do think, eventually it will happen for me. I do believe I was blessed with the gift to be able to, achieve that. And, God did give me the good genetics to be able to accomplish that. It's just, to me, I feel like just whenever it's his time, when he wants it to happen, he'll make it happen. So, but yeah, it's like, I just like, if you ever watch Ronnie Coleman, like I said, I think he missed 3 Olympias while he was in law enforcement. And he said that people always asked him, why he still continued to do the job. And he's won Mr. Olympia 3 times. He loved doing it. He loved being law enforcement. He loved the job. And the only reason why he got out of it was because when he started, he said he started traveling a lot, like, I guess doing like guest appearances, things like that. He did get a big, supplement contract, one of the biggest, I think, ever, besides like him and Jay Cutler signed like the biggest deals. So I think after he won three Mr. Olympias with the sheriff's office, they basically told him, I guess I could be mistaken, but they may have put him like on a reserve roster to where like he worked a couple times a month, just because he was traveling so much. And then I think he finally just decided to, retire and let it go, because at that time bodybuilding, he was like at the top, and, but he said he stayed with law enforcement just because he loved it. He just loved the job, and so that's how I look at it. Even if I become, pro, obviously I'm still going to have this career, 30 or 25 years, usually 30 years of retirement, but I think you could retire at 25, now. So, but yeah, man, that's just it's just life, man. You just gotta make it work.
For sure, man. All right, Ben. So I want to ask you, maybe somebody that's thinking about getting into bodybuilding, like competitively. We all have a starting point, all of us, right? In this passion that we have in terms of bodybuilding, there's a starting point for everybody. So if somebody's watching this, they're listening to this, maybe they're in law enforcement like you are, maybe they're in the military like you were thinking about doing, or maybe they're just trying to figure things out in their life, but they know they love bodybuilding, they know they want to compete, maybe they've done their first show. But the point that I'm trying to get at, Ben, is what's some words of wisdom that you can share with all of us in terms of kind of that starting point in bodybuilding, that starting point of competing? Like, what are some things that you kind of know now that you can share with us that we can glean from you in terms of your bodybuilding experiences, just throughout the years?
I look at it as, man, have your goals. Just have a goal set. Like I said, bodybuilding is not a sprint. It's a marathon. It's going to take time. Just have some goals set. Just have some goals set for yourself, man. And make sure you like execute them. And like I said, make sure you always have balance as well. And I look at it, I mean, you just have to really, you just have to really want to do it, like get your meals in, get your, workout, regimen, set. I just, it's, like I said, bodybuilding, people want to get into bodybuilding. It's like, say, it's not going anywhere. Just take it day by day. It's find you a good coach, find somebody that can actually guide you, put you on the right path, get your foods down, a good workout regimen done, and go from there. Take it slow, take it day by day, let the progress come to you. Like I said, it's, if bodybuilding, like I said, if the stage went somewhere, I would still continue. If there was no competing, I would still continue to work out, and lift. It's just because I love doing it. But never, and also like when you're into the sport and you're wanting to get into competing, and to me, never forget the ones that are in the background, helping you. Like say your significant other, your family, never forget about them, because they are there for you more than you know. They're the ones that are watching your every move. They're seeing how you progress. If you ever have a bad attitude, they're the ones that are going to, tell you, hey man, your attitude's horrible. For example, my wife, she's not scared to let me know if I'm getting out of line or something, man. If I'm being a little cranky or something, she's the one to tell me real quick, hey, you need to straighten up. So, and I appreciate that, because it kind of levels me back down, because especially when you're in prep, you get hungry and stuff. So it's, you kind of get a little irritated a little bit, but she's not scared to let me know, hey, put me in my place real quick, but I thank you for that, because I understand where she's coming from. But one of the things, just enjoy it, dude. You have to enjoy it. Like if you want to get into the sport, enjoy the process. Really, you have to love it. Trust the process, enjoy it, take it day by day. Like I said, let the results come to you. That's just how I took it. I just took it day by day. I didn't rush it. I was never, rushed into competing. When that day came, when it was that time, it was that time. I just never rushed it. When I felt ready, I was ready. But I built my physique, to where I thought it could be competitive, and it was years. It just, it just took like years of stacking on muscle, being consistent, day in and day out. And, like I told you, 2011, 2012, I didn't compete in 2019, even though I got with a coach, 2017, I got, serious, got a real coach and, got put on like a real meal plan and stuff, but, yeah, you can think all those years, man. It just takes time. Just enjoy it, have fun with it. You don't ever want to be miserable doing something, so that's kind of, that's how I see it.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Well, Ben, I just want to thank you, man, for coming on, chopping it up with all of us, dude, sharing your life story, your bodybuilding story. And again, I just want to, thank you for all the support. I know that you have watched a lot of the episodes, and again, you share them on your Instagram, and I really, really appreciate that support. Cause like I always say, kind of to wrap up the podcast, if it wasn't for all of you, if it wasn't for all the, the supporters out there, then the podcast wouldn't exist, man. So I just want to thank you for all the support. I want to thank you for coming on today. Thank you for the service in terms of, being a sheriff. I know like the first responders and the police officers and military people, like it's those of us that are not in those professions, we take you guys and gals for granted. Cause like you said, like, you know, who do we call, you know, when there's an issue or we're in trouble? It's, you know, it's the police officers, it's the first responders. You guys are protecting us or keeping our community safe. So I want to thank you very much for your service in that area too. The last question I want to ask you, and then I'll let you kind of give us any shout outs, and I'll do a quick outro. What do you feel like bodybuilding has given you, or what do you feel like bodybuilding has taught you, Ben?
I look at bodybuilding. I mean, I look at it as, I mean, bodybuilding is still sport. I mean, you develop a lot of characteristics, like if you play high school sports like football and stuff like that. Discipline, you know, being dedicated, hardworking. The only thing with bodybuilding is, you know, you reach that getting ready for show. Sometimes you have to go to that dark place, man, because you're being food deprived. You know, I mean, your body's not used to being that hungry, that low body fat. You know, it's going to this like kind of like dark place that you have to, mentally, very mentally strong, man. Not just as much physically. If you don't have the mental capability, you might as well just throw it out the door. It's honestly, it's something that's a lot more mental than physical. But I mean, it's just man, it just taught me how to, you know, be very, very disciplined and, you know, definitely balanced and very passionate about something, like very passionate and devoted, you know, and like I said, I love this. I love the sport, you know. But I just, you know, that's just kind of how, I mean, that's how I, you know, that's how I look at it, man. You just have to, you know, really, you have to really, you know, like love the sport, you know, to do it, you know. So, but it's definitely taught how to respect the body, you know. I mean, definitely lets you learn a lot how the body works. So.
All right, man. So before I do a quick outro, why don't you give us your Instagram, Ben, and then any shout outs, anything that you want to leave us with? I'm going to turn it over to you. I'll do a quick outro, and that'll be a wrap, man. So platform's yours, Ben.
All right, Instagram is bsmith939. I like to give out a shout out to. Now these are not sponsors, but they're very good people. They kind of helped me through prep. Is that stuff hot sauce? It's this local guy here in Cookeville. He has his own hot sauce and own seasonings. If you ever like hot sauce, it's some of the best hot sauce that you will ever have. It's not too hot. It's like, dude, I'll tell you, it's good. It's like the perfect taste, and his season is awesome. It's very prep friendly too. I mean, I use it like all through prep. You know, I put it on almost all my food. Another person that's Kodiak bodybuilding apparel. They have, you know, hooked me up with some awesome apparel, and they've been very good to me, you know, during this prep. And also Tennessee Pre. I know the owner of that, and he's hooked me up with you know, some, you know, pre-workouts and stuff to get me filled to, you know, my prep. So I want to give a shout out to them. I mean, they're not, like I said, they're not sponsors, but they're very good people, you know, and I just have to show them respect because they've helped me out. So definitely want to give a shout out to my gym family at Absolute. You know, everybody that's supportive there. They watch this, they definitely know who they are. Definitely my wife, Angela. I said, I mean, my success and none of this would be, you know, accomplished. Like, I wouldn't be able to accomplish any of this without her. And my coach, Chris King, you know, that's my brother right there, man. And you know, he's a very good dude, and definitely my family. And you know, you have the Lord himself, you know. So definitely none of this would be possible without him. So.
Cool. All right, Ben. Again, man, thanks so much for coming on, man, and sharing your story. Really appreciate it. Okay.
Yes, sir. And I wanted to thank you, man. I don't know if any other podcast actually does, amateur bodybuilders, man, and actually gets their story on how they got started. And ever since I first discovered you, man, it's like I thought that was the coolest thing, because I was like, what other podcast does this? I was like, these upcoming guys that are doing national shows and local shows, it's like, they become pro, but nobody knows how they got there. Nobody knows their story. And when you started doing that, man, I think that is seriously, I mean, I know you do some pros too, and some of the other bigger guys, but us amateurs, man, is very awesome. Like what you have done, like, and anybody that I've talked to them about your podcast, that's what I've said. I was like, I don't know anybody else that really does that, besides you. And I really want to thank you for that, man. And, you do a very great job with that.
Cool. Well, I appreciate the kind words, Ben. And, hence the name Behind the Muscle. I mean, like I always kind of leave everybody with, there's always a story, right? Like whether you're a bodybuilder or a police officer or, I don't know, working at Walmart, we all have a story. We're all human beings. We all have purpose. We all have meaning, whether we realize that or not. And, when somebody shares their story, even if they don't think their story is cool or worthy or worth it or whatever, when we share our stories, man, it can really, truly positively impact another human being. So appreciate the kind words, appreciate all the support, and thanks again for coming on. Okay, Ben?
Yes, sir, man. Thank you. I appreciate you.
You're welcome, man. All of you who are tuning in to another episode of Behind the Muscle podcast, I just want to say thank you so very much for all of your guys' continued support. As I said earlier in this conversation with Ben, and as you hear me say all the time, if it weren't for all of you, the podcast would not exist. I appreciate all of you. I value all of you. And again, the Instagram continues to grow. The YouTube continues to grow. And I just really appreciate all the comments that I get on Instagram, the DMs that I get on Instagram, the comments that you guys leave on YouTube. Again, I appreciate them. I value them. And it's just pretty awesome to see how this podcast, these conversations, these stories, just through grassroots, it's all growing, and it's because of you guys. So thank you so much. Quickly here, as we wrap up this awesome conversation with Ben today, if you have not done so already, please hit that subscribe button on YouTube. That's really important because I release all these episodes first on YouTube, and then I'll distribute them to iTunes, CastBox, Podbean, and some of the other major podcast platforms. So if you have not subscribed to BTM on YouTube, please do that right now. And then one final favor I'd ask of all of you, please take this episode with Ben, share it on your Instagram stories. Make sure you tag Ben, tag Behind the Muscle, so that we know that you listened specifically to this episode and found great value in it, in which I know you did. And then finally, per the usual, I will leave you all with this. Remember, behind the muscle, there's always a story. We'll catch you guys later.